Surprisingly, this is a question I get a lot and I can understand why. Stone Ocean is a part where you have this odd feeling on certain things that could happen, and then when nearing the end you completely drop them because those things aren't possible anymore. But with what happens, a lot of questions are asked with it. So in Stone Ocean, all of the children of Dio are brought together by gravity or fate in some form. What's interesting about this is that Giorno is hinted at, but he's nowhere to be found. So that immediately asks why and why not. It's possible that this is something that Araki is holding in the back for a future part where Giorno has undone what has happened in Stone Ocean and somehow connects over to where we're at now in JoJo, but to me that kind of sounds like a long shot. Though, I'm just not sure on why he would go ahead and mention Giorno here. It's possible that it was just done as a little cadence, something to show the audience that makes people go, oh yeah, I remember Giorno. He was in the part literally right after. But the thing is, it made more people think, wait, why didn't he notice that something was going on and why didn't he try to stop it? So let's approach this as if he did. Now, I believe that we'd see Giorno in the arc where we see Sea Moon being introduced. Giorno has got to a point in both power and knowledge where he wouldn't be attracted to the same gravity that worked on the other sons of Dio that makes him want to work under Pucci, but if we're going to have him here, we're going to have him want to know what's going on with Florida at the moment. The best thing about this is that in the midst of gravity going insane and everything going wrong within the radius of Sea Moon, of course, Giorno is casually walking into the space station with everything getting knocked out of his way, but it would just appear as if he was just walking through all of this mess. So the rest of the arc is going how it already went. It's Jolene, Anasui, and Emporio versus Pucci, and he's whooping them in the same way that he did before, but now, in the middle of Jolene and Pucci, Giorno walks right through the door and sees what's going on. So then the fight is at a pause because it just looks like, well, who's this guy? Giorno looks around with what's happening, and while Jolene and Pucci are looking at him, being confused, Giorno notices the star on Jolene's neck since it's in the open. This is where we would get a bit of exposition so both sides try to know what's going on here. But one thing that does originally happen in the middle of Jolene and Pucci is that Jotaro comes in to save the day. So, Jotaro comes through to stop time and he's ready to throw that projectile at Pucci, but in the midst of stopping time, he looks at Giorno, who is unmoved by it. While being massively confused on what's going on with him, his target is Pucci. I want to go and continue on how this would play out, but to make it easier, everything would be happening the way it originally was. It's just this time, Giorno is spectating and he's not really the person to instantly jump into action. That doesn't concern him, so that would make sense. At the same time, if he happened to be tested, it's extremely easy for him to put the hands on everyone there. But sooner or later, when Pucci is out of reach or they're going to go after him, Jotaro would ask who Giorno is. Most likely, Giorno isn't going to give his name up instantly, so Jotaro will have to go first and then Giorno will follow up right after. Giorno will ask about what's going on, who is Jolene since she shares the same birthmark as him, and Jotaro will tell him the thing that's going on with Pucci, who Jolene is, might show his own birthmark to him too to show that he has one also, and what in general has been happening to everyone. Jotaro would have to mention Dio somewhere in that conversation since it connects over with Pucci, and then that would connect over to Giorno having that single picture of Dio with his name on it. So right there, Jotaro would realize that he was Haruno Shiobana, the kid that he was looking for during the times of Vento Reo that went unsuccessful due to Koichi running up and finding that Giorno was a stand user. While Jotaro is trying to explain what had happened and why Dio was evil, Giorno hears about how Jotaro had to end Dio. So Giorno harboring some hate towards both Jotaro and Dio makes him think about what he's going to do with Jotaro. But this is stopped by Jolene and Anasui trying to go after Pucci, who is reaching all of the coordinates. Jotaro and Giorno pay attention to what's going on, and Pucci reaches Maiden Heaven. The flash of light happens, everyone basically gets flashbanged except for Giorno. The arc follows the same way that it did, like I said before, except still Giorno still looking at everything from a spectator perspective. And it's also possible that since GER is extremely self-aware and probably knows more than anyone about anything in this verse at that time, GER tries to explain to Giorno what's going on at the moment. The ability of Maiden Heaven has activated, so time is accelerating and we still have those same panels where everything is going wrong and it's Rohan still happening to be keeping up with the speed. But We get to that area where it's Pucci making an attempt on the Stone Ocean team, and it's +1. Jotaro finds him and tries to stop him, but then Pucci makes that counterattack and tries to land that final blow on Jotaro. Right here is where we get Giorno holding that compassion that he has for both Jotaro and Jolene, since they both hold the same birthmark. And he's still weary on how to go about saving a man who killed his father, but he believes that it would be better to save the people who's trying to stop the man that's accelerating the whole universe than to mess with the guy and help him out on destroying the whole universe. Giorno probably says yare yare, knowing how Araki would do it, and then everything that Pucci had done was undone. It's not even undone to where Pucci was trying to land a hit on Jotaro originally. It's undone to the point of where the only stand that Pucci has is Sea Moon. Giorno appears floating in the air above Pucci, looking down on him, and Pucci looks up directly at Giorno. He sees a look that he would originally get from Dio, a look that was filled with a complex that feels like it couldn't be touched. Giorno tells him that he doesn't know who he is and what he's doing, but he knows that what he wants to do is affecting the entire world, and that's not good for Giorno or his business. And he tells him that he's going to have to put a stop to him at this moment. Pucci tries to attack Giorno, but you know how that works. It didn't happen. Then Pucci, realizing that he's back into the same spot he was at before, he says what he said to Emporio about Giorno not understanding what he's doing. Then Giorno says something about being it's something iconic, and then Muda Muda all the way to Sunday. If you want to make this cooler, you could have it to where Giorno punches Pucci all the way up and then bam, sends him over to Jotaro. Jotaro stops time to finish him off, but that's being extra. It's like an Eyes of Heaven type finisher. So now you have defeated Pucci and the world is all good. What happens after is something else, but it's a new ending. I'd see Jotaro and Giorno discussing what had happened over Jotaro's life, but Jotaro would try to include Jolene more. There's also possibility of Giorno just being all like, hey, I have a friend Turtle and all that stuff. And then Jotaro hearing Polnareff's voice out of it, that'd just be amazing. But once Jotaro tells Giorno about the rest of the Joestars, Giorno would probably go about the world to go see each and every one of them, just because Giorno doesn't really have family that he connects with right now. It's also possible to run into some hijinks with them, maybe create a couple of OVAs, who knows. Jolene's record is now cleared though, and everything that had went wrong is fixed by the Speedwagon Foundation. Altogether, everything would have went well, but that begs a major question. What now? Since there isn't anyone anymore to carry out Dio's ideologies as well as Pucci did, everything's cleared up. So what would be the future? It's possible that we could see a random villain here and there that'd be like Diavolo or Pucci, but Diavolo isn't technically random. He had huge influence, and Kira also had a big part of it too, but you get what I mean. It's not influenced by Dio. So if we're getting down through the lineage, you have a potential part in the child of Giorno, or Josuke, or Jolene. It would have also been possible for Shizuka being the one to have her own part. I think it's up to anyone on how exactly Part 6 would have continued on into an alternate Part 7 that isn't SBR. By itself, I can't think of anything else JoJo would be able to do except continue down through the someone else's child, but who knows? It's also possible that a reoccurring minor villain could come back, like Mannish Boy. He would probably be as old as Hermes in Stone Ocean. It's up to whatever at that point, and that's honestly about it. While I would love to see Giorno with full effect in Stone Ocean, I'd much rather keep SBR and JoJolion. Just have Giorno and Stone Ocean just be a side what if that Araki could be involved in, and possibly just do himself, because I love stuff that Araki writes, all the OVAs and all that. But yeah, I would be that guy to prefer the continuation of the original timeline that we have at the moment, meaning including SBR and JoJolion, versus the one that we had, since I love the extremely new, vibrant take on JoJo that this universe has created. Now, I'm sure that people will question Giorno versus Pucci, but really, it's a no. It's extremely one-sided. I'd love to say that it'd be a reasonably well fight, but it would just be a complete stomp on Giorno's side. Though it would be nice to see Pucci throwing punches and those punches not happening at all, while Pucci slowly falls into despair while looking at someone else who holds a blood connection to Dio. So it's like dying to Dio himself, or well, half of him. So someone who draws, that could be great art. You just have Pucci throwing those hands with Made in Heaven, and then Giorno just dodging them shits. But that's something else. When I do another versus that does include 2 JoJo characters, though, I need to show you guys the art that I got for Cars vs. Dio if I haven't already. My memory is terrible, but that art was phenomenal. I loved it so much when I got it. You could see it on my Twitter possibly. But that's going to be my take on Giorno in Stone Ocean. If you believe that it would have went a different way, I'd honestly love to see. Or a what if that you have in mind, you guys can just leave that in the comment section or in my Discord, because there's a certain channel for that. Follow me on my Twitter and Twitch. For Twitch, I've been playing a lot of fighters, and I got Monster Hunter, and I have about already put like 100 hours into it. So possibly expect a few streams of that. I'm not sure, because I play games at 2 a.m. I also might get a Switch this week. Who knows? But thank you all so much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one. Until then, join my Discord, say hi. Peace out, and Godspeed.